I would like to welcome you to episode 541 of the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. Here at the Unpopular Podcast, I'm not trying to, You know what? I stumbled on that. But let's just get right to it. How much is too much? How much money is too much money? That is the age-old question that I think most people are asking themselves after we heard about the Chauncey Billups and Damian Jones and Terry Rozier FBI arrests, all of which are separate gambling situations, but gambling situations all the same. I think Chauncey Billups was involved in illegal poker games that had to do with the mafia. Terry Rozier, Terry Rozier's name's been in the news when it comes to gambling or in-game gambling for a minute now, and he got arrested on it. And Damian Jones, from what I remember or what I think I read, was he would tell people if like LeBron James wasn't playing. So yeah, take the over, take the under, stuff like that. Now, obviously I'm speaking from a lack of mindset. I clearly don't have as much as Chauncey Billups or Terry Rozier or Damian Jones. I probably will never see the amount of money that these individuals have seen in their playing careers or coaching careers. But I also want to say before I go, or before I continue, that it's innocent until proven guilty. We don't know what they did or if it's true. Nothing has been confirmed. This is just what they've been arrested for. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it automatically means that they did it or didn't do it. I don't know. I clearly wasn't there. But the age-old question is, how much is too much? For the life of me, man, I don't understand how you can risk your livelihood if your livelihood is as prosperous as an NBA player, as an NBA head coach, as an NBA individual. How are you willing to risk your livelihood for some quick money? Now, if you read the article or read the reports, this happened in 2000, or these all stem from 2023. Meaning that this could have been happening since then. And that's when they possibly detected it. You're talking about a Hall of Fame player. Again, if this is all true, you're talking about a Hall of Fame player in Chauncey Billups that not only might get jail time, but probably will never coach in the NBA again, and quite possibly might never be able to go into an NBA arena again. Terry Rozier just saw what happened to Jonte Porter. And you're doing stuff like that as well? I said this before. I said leagues need to be careful what doors they open. I know that they say all publicity is good publicity, but I don't agree with that. All publicity is publicity, but it doesn't mean it's always good. Yes, you open up a new can of viewers, you open up a new can of fans once you incorporate sports betting. That's obvious. And sports betting has been here, whether illegal or legal, from the test of time. However, when you open it up, when you start partnering with it, when you have ESPN Bet on the bottom of your screen, then you could possibly run into problems like this. Because I don't know who is spiritual out there, but you know what they say. The root of all evil is. So what if all this is true? Chauncey Billups has ruined his reputation, and his career as a coach. Terry Rozier has ruined his reputation and his career as a basketball player. And Damian Jones not only ruined his career as a basketball assistant coach, but a lot of this, he was betting, like it was in conjunction with LeBron James. Not saying LeBron James had anything to do with it, but he was calling people telling, hey, LeBron James is going to play, LeBron James is not going to play, LeBron James is going to be on a minutes restriction. That is insider betting, insider trading. That is against the law. I would think when you see something like Jonte Porter happen, or when you see something like Calvin Ridley in the NFL, or there was another dude, I think he was on the Colts. I forgot his name. But it's like, don't get me wrong, man. I understand that everyone, especially me, understanding extra money right now would be incredible. I mean, you know that there's government people that's not working or working without getting paid. There's people that have lost their jobs. I understand the importance of money, and I understand the importance of trying to get money. Trust and believe, Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Damian Jones are not one of those people. They ain't hurting for money. And now, not only are they involved with the law, but they very well could have ruined their entire basketball legacy, basketball career, basketball future. We're talking about a Hall of Famer in Chauncey Billups. And you're dealing with the mafia. Last time, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is a bad look. I know people, the running joke on social media is this has been a very eventful opening week for the NBA, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I'm almost sure that the NBA, and I talked about this with the NFL, with the the NBA, as much publicity as it's getting, it doesn't want this publicity. Because I said this before, and I say it again. The number one concern that these leagues have is their reputation, is how they look to others. Because at the end of the day, your reputation is the thing that gets you the brand deals. It's the thing that gets you the fans. When the fans look, and now if you read reports, you're saying that they're saying Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the current head coach of the Trailblazers, was intentionally losing games. And they said one of the clear examples was against, I think, the Chicago Bulls. That hurts the integrity of the game. So, as much publicity as great as it could be, they don't want this publicity at all. Think about this. A head coach, an assistant coach, essentially, and a player in a span of a day got swept out by the feds, the federales. Hey, man, again, guilty until proven innocent, so I hope that this is all a misunderstanding, but if it's not, I don't know. They essentially threw their careers away for some quick money. I said that we just finished essentially, or close to finishing, the first week of the NBA season. And while it would be irrational to do grandiose opinions on the entire season, here are some takeaways that I have just for a few topics in the NBA. Number one, we could be watching the greatest player to ever play in Victor Wembanyama. Whoa, I'm not saying he is the greatest. But it's getting increasingly difficult to explain what we're watching from Victor Wembanyama. You ask yourself, when you go into a game as a basketball player, now again, I never played in the NBA, I just played college. But in college, when you're going up against a great player or you're going up against their top player, one question that you ask yourself, one question that the coaches have to figure out is, what are we willing to give up from said player? He can be a great driver, a great penetrator, a great dunker, maybe not a good shooter. So you might want to leave him open so he doesn't get hot, getting layups and driving to the basket. He may be a great shooter, but not a great dribbler, so you just want to crowd his space. When you're going up against a great player, you have to ask yourself, what are we willing to give up? Because one thing that you know about great players is you're not going to be able to stop them. You can slow them down. When we would talk about Wemby, what we would say is, give up the shot. Because there's nothing you're doing with Wemby down low. I mean, him being 7'3" or 7'4" or something like that. There's nothing you're going to do. So let's just try to pack the paint, turn him into a jump shooter. The man had 40 points the other night. And I think it was just 2, but he had 2 threes. And he was beating people off the dribble. Now, I'm not disrespecting Michael Jordan. I'm not disrespecting LeBron James. But what I'm saying is this. As great as they were, as great as they are, I've never seen what from a player with his size, with his stature. I've never seen a player move and play with that like Victor Wembanyama did game 1. Hell, he was having an incredible season last year until injuries derailed it. I'm not saying he is, but we are watching something special. And I know when I did my preseason or the regular season, the episode before, and I talked about, who can win the Defensive Player of the Year, and I said, Victor Wembanyama. I may have been doing him a disservice. If Victor continues to play like this and just improve, and elevate, probably 2 to 3 years from now, we're talking about the best player on the planet. Because right now, he's damn close. That was one of the best opening games I've seen from a player in a while. That man's incredible. Because how do you stop that? Bro, you know how they play the Dallas Mavericks. Now, yes, I understand that, they're dealing with Kyrie not being out and, the aftermath of the Luka trade. But Anthony Davis is no slouch. Anthony Davis is an all-NBA 75 team. Anthony Davis is a future Hall of Famer. He's an MVP. I mean, not MVP. He's a champion. Victor Wembanyama made Anthony Davis look like a child. He made Anthony Davis look like just a regular old player. And we're talking about Anthony Davis. Yeah, that's one takeaway, man. Wemby is just different, man. Another takeaway, and I want to sit here for a second. I want to talk about Golden State because as we speak, because this is Friday afternoon / evening, as we speak, Golden State is 2-0. They beat who did they beat the first game? Don't remember, but they beat the Denver Nuggets. Oh, the Lakers. They beat the Lakers game 1, Denver Nuggets game 2. And now the questions are spiraling that can this team compete? And when I mean compete, I think that when you have Steph, when you have Jimmy Butler, when you have Draymond Green, there's already a floor there, and it's a very high floor. It's a championship caliber floor. But can you see them competing in a series with a Minnesota, with a OKC, with a Denver? And I don't know. And I'm not saying that as a cop-out. What I'm saying is, while I have seen some things that I loved, because Golden State was one of the best teams after they acquired Jimmy Butler. It's just they acquired him in the middle of the year, so it's like at that point your seeding is already there. But they did, especially defensively, they are one of the best teams. At least through 2 games, the Al Horford fit has been great. I think Will Richards is his name, the rookie from Florida. He's been great. I didn't think Jonathan Kuminga would still be able to fit in this ecosystem, and Jonathan Kuminga has been really good the first 2 weeks or first 2 games. But you have to look at the whole thing, right? In game 1, albeit the Lakers, and we'll talk about the Lakers in a second, but albeit the Lakers, you let Luka Doncic go for like 45 points. You needed 30 points from Jimmy Butler and like 25 or 23, something like that from Steph. Game 2 against the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon had a career-high 50 points. And you needed, 16 or 17 straight points from Steph Curry and a 42 ball from Steph just to win in overtime. I'm going to assume that Golden State has just said to hell with height. Because it seems like every single year we talk about the same thing with Golden State. They need some size in the perimeter. They need some size. They need a center. They need a big. Every single year I feel I say that, and every single year it doesn't happen. So I'm thinking to myself, I know they just got Al Horford. But Al Horford, how tall is Al Horford? That's a good question. Because if they say anything close to 7 feet, I'm like, come on, brother. Al Horford is 6'9". So if I'm not mistaken, Al Horford is essentially the same height as Jonathan Kuminga, playing center. So I'm just going to chalk it up to, Golden State just doesn't, they don't feel they need size. Cool. Well, in that case, you're playing with fire. Now, all granted, you have you have the greatest shooter of ever in Steph Curry. You have a world-class second option in Jimmy Butler. You have one of the greatest defenders of this generation in Draymond Green. But you're playing with fire. The margin of error is incredibly low. Because, again, Steph Curry, they went, I think it was 10-0. Golden State went out against the Nuggets. They went out and scored the first 10 points. And like that, the Denver Nuggets took the lead. And until I think the third quarter, Golden State could do nothing with Denver's size. I mean, at that, they were packing the paint. So Aaron Gordon, I think he went like 10 for 11 from three. Now, no, I don't foresee him dropping 50 or only missing one three-pointer after shooting 11. But what I'm saying is this. If it took 16 straight points from Steph Curry to just get it to overtime and win the game. You can't, and again, I forgot to mention that this is the oldest roster in the NBA. Or, I don't know about roster, but the oldest starting five in the NBA. The margins are extremely thin. Because what happens if Steph doesn't have it? Well, we saw in that game, there was a point where it looked like Denver was just going to run with it. What happens if Jimmy Butler doesn't have 30 in game one? Well, Luka goes crazy. I think they can compete. I think that we're watching one of the few teams that could win a championship. However, you have to understand when you're going to say to hell with size, to hell with height, and you're relying solely on skill, solely on shooting and defense, especially the age that this roster is, you're playing a dangerous game. They looked in Steph reminded people. I tweeted, man, like sometimes you forget just who the hell Steph is. The fact that Steph had 33 points in the second half and overtime is insane. But you also remember, okay, well, they were a Nikola Jokic rim out. A shot he usually makes over a smaller defender, albeit a great one, but a smaller defender in Draymond Green. He missed the floater that would have won them the game. Jamal Murray hit a crucial step back three. I think it was on it was on Al Horford. Step back three to tie the game up to go to overtime. And Steph took him home. But if you're expecting that every night, then I don't know what to tell you. That's a tough way to live. Especially in a league when you see high flyers like Anthony Edwards and Anthony Edwards dropping 40 game one. You see Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies. If they stay healthy, they can make some noise. You're playing with fire when you're just gonna say to hell with height. I'm not saying that you have to go pick up DeAndre Jordan, who, if I'm not mistaken, got signed to the Pelicans. Yet I don't understand why the Pelicans just continue to stockpile centers. But hey, shout out Joe Dumars. But I'm not saying that they have to play a huge part. But when Quentin Post is your tallest player, who his number one option is a three-point. I'm not trying to bash on Golden State. What I'm saying is they're good enough to compete. It's just their margin of error is extremely slim when they just say to hell with threes. Speaking of to hell with threes, that kind of brings me to my next point. You're already hearing it. The whole Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a field or free throw merchant. He just had 55 points in game 2, but I think he took like 30. I think he took like 30 free throws. That's not my takeaway, though. My takeaway that I came to the conclusion in week 1 with OKC is this team is fully capable of repeating as this year's NBA champion, since I predicted them to go back to back. However, you guys see how important J-Dub is right now. Yes, as we're recording this, OKC is 2-0. But J Dub, they struggled with the Indianapolis Pacers. Now, yes, they're a scrappy team, but you don't have Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously Miles Turner is on to Milwaukee. But they struggled with them, and they struggled game one against the Rockets. Now, I'm not I'm not going to do a segment about the Rockets, but what I will say is this: P.S. The Rockets can be a scary good team. They need a point guard. I know they have all this size in the world, but Amin Thompson he's good, not a point guard. Reed Shepherd, anytime he feels pressure, his first option, his first thought is, "Oh, I got to get it up. I got to shoot." What? But I digress. I hope you guys are seeing the importance of J Dub right now and how much how difficult it seems for just the whole Oklahoma City Thunder outside of Shea, because he's kind of shown that he's the best scorer in the league. Shea is just slicing and dicing, but that's one person. J-Dub, that's why I said this when he got the deal done this offseason. Him and Chet were the key. J-Dub plays a very intricate role. Not only does he score the ball, but he usually guards the best or one of the second best player, because usually Lou Dort's guarding the best player. I feel like I'm going around the bush. Oklahoma City is a title contender for sure, and they definitely can win back-to-back. They will not win if J-Dub is not 100% healthy, because we're seeing what they look like without J-Dub now. And while they're winning, it's not pretty. That again, I'm not crapping on them or anything, but that Pacers game showed you the importance of J-Dub. You got people saying, you see, if Tyrese Halliburton was playing, they would have for sure won. No. If J-Dub was playing, they would have for sure lost. But, yeah. I want to talk about the Lakers for a second. No, I'm not going to talk about Stephen A. and his his media run seemingly going at LeBron. I'm not talking about that. What I want to talk about is roster construction and how important, even on an NBA level, roster construction is. Because the NBA is one of the only sports where one player can take you extremely far. We look at the World Series, and you see great players like Bryce Harper. He's not in the World Series right now. You see great players like Aaron Judge. He's not in the World Series right now. Juan Soto. He's not in the World Series right now. Shohei Ohtani was struggling up until, I think, the Brewers series. Was struggling mightily. Actually, I'm not even going to give it the whole series until like the last two games of that series. And the Dodgers, because they have Mookie, because they have Freddie Freeman, because they have Blake Snell, because they have a loaded roster, they still made it, even with their best player playing like crap majority of the playoffs. They still made it to the World Series. I'm going to see what his name is, because even the Toronto Blue Jays, people say, let me see, Toronto Blue Jays, what's this guy's name? Bichette? He's, I think, their best player. Yeah, Bo Bichette. If I said his name wrong, I apologize. Um, but he is Toronto's best player. Now, people can argue Vladi is their best player, but I would say probably not. He missed all of the Mariners series, and they still made it to the World Series. What I'm saying is this. Basketball is the only sport where you need your best player to make it far. And your best player can get you far. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win you the ultimate prize. That's where roster construction comes in. The Lakers' roster construction is absolutely horrible. You have LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and a bunch of one-dimensional players. Now, people are asking, Jalen, what do you mean by that? What does one-dimensional mean? Don't fear, I'll tell you what it means. One-dimensional means they can only do one thing really well. That doesn't mean that they can only do one thing, but it means that they do one thing really well. And that's about it. For instance, people talk about Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt is a one-dimensional player. He is a great rebounder. Oh, and great defender. So you kind of lump that up with defense. But that's about it. Offensively, he is, yeah. DeAndre Ayton, supposed to be a great rebounder, a great scorer, and a great defender. He didn't show none of that. Luka, incredible scorer, incredible assist guy, terrible defensively. What I'm saying is this. They have not built a winning team, the Lakers. There's nothing about that team outside of Luka and LeBron that spells winning. And Luka had 45 points, I believe, in Game 1 against Golden State, and it didn't matter. Because I watched DeAndre Ayton do 5 turnaround, fadeaway jump shots in the paint and only hit the rim on one of them jumps. Every other one was damn near an air ball, bro. That's your biggest acquisition this offseason. So for those, this is the Lakers' year. I don't know about that. Now, obviously, there are people that's like, well, we knew Lakers weren't going to be good. Okay. Maybe you didn't understand to the extent of how bad they would be. Lakers are not a good team. They're just a poorly built team. And you know it's bad when you look at that Golden State Warriors game, even with LeBron James. I don't think they would have won. Because LeBron James I don't think he's at an age where he can carry a team that far. Luka Doncic is at that age, but you still need complementary players. They don't have complementary players to Luka. That's one thing that was so underrated about that Dallas Mavericks team that went to the finals. While you had Luka and Kyrie, 2 scorers, you also had a P.J. Washington, who was a 3-and-D player. You also had defensive anchors on Derek Lively and Darius. What's his name? It's not Darius Garland. It's the center. I forgot his name. But they had the team was built around Luka to enhance his weaknesses. That is not the case for this Lakers team at all. So we'll see, but I don't foresee a good season or a championship season. Yeah, they might make the playoffs. I mean, a team with Luka at least will make the playoffs, but I don't see much. I don't see much after that, to be honest with you. But we'll see. And lastly, before we move on off of basketball, again, this has been a great opening week outside of the gambling situation, but I don't enjoy talking about this. I really don't, because we're talking about somebody's livelihood, you know. But have you guys took a hard look at Joel Embiid and how he looks like a shell of himself? We're gonna talk about. We're about to go and talk about Thursday Night Football and when a coach or an organization has to save the player from themselves, right? I understand. I understand from Joel Embiid's side the point where I want to play. I feel good enough to play. I want to play. Even though I'm laboring, I can still walk. I want to play. I understand the organization. I mean, this is our best player. This is the ticket draw. We already don't have Paul George. Remember that whole experience hasn't worked. I understand wanting, or they'll want to have Joel Embiid out there. But my question is, at what cost? It is clear as day that Joel Embiid is not 100%. It's clear as day that Joel Embiid should not be on a basketball court right now. His knee is just shot. Now, if this is a long-term thing, right? If this is, well, this is as worse as, this is the best it's going to get. Then, as Joel Embiid, you have to ask yourself, is this worth it? Because trust and believe, Joel Embiid, as great as he is, he was one of the reasons why the Philadelphia 76ers almost lost to the Celtics game 1, because he did nothing. Shout out to VJ Edgecombe, the rookie who had an exceptional game. I think he had like 36 or 37 points. He was hooping. He is my early candidate for Rookie of the Year. But it's crazy how we saw the quick rise, and how good VJ Edgecombe was compared to just how bad. And I understand that the play-by-play and the color commentary, their job is to obviously tell the people what they're seeing, but their job is also to promote the game. And their job is also to shine the brightest of lights on the most positive aspects of the game. That is a color commentator's job, is to say what's happening, but not really crap on the game, not really disrespect the game. That's kind of, I'm not going to go there. But what I'm saying is this: even the color commentators, I think it was Tim Legler, I don't remember who it was, but they couldn't stop saying, hey, yo, Joel Embiid is laboring out there. This is game 1. And Joel Embiid already looks like he may not make it to game 10. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to do what they love to do. I want everyone to be secure in what they do. I want everyone to be secure in themselves. So maybe the organization has gone to Joel Embiid and said, hey, bro, you shouldn't be playing. But Joel Embiid's voice rings louder than whoever said that. And it's like, no, I'm going to play. But it's clear as day. The man can game 1, he can barely get up and down the floor. His knee is cooked. Deep fried. Now, I don't know if that's rest. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just how it is. If that is how it is, then we got to make some decisions. Joel Embiid, you have to make some life decisions, brother. If playing basketball is the best for you, cool. But it ain't look great at all. That's all I'm saying. I want everyone to be cool and be happy and be good with themselves. There's no way that anybody in the Philadelphia 76ers organization turned on the tape, watched it in real time, and said to themselves, Joel Embiid looks good right now. He looks like the MVP. Bro, you realize Joel Embiid won the MVP, 3 years ago? And he looks absolutely nothing like that MVP year. Whether you believe he should have won it or not, at least he looked all the part of one of the best centers in the league. He looked like, and I hate to say this, he looked like a bum in game one. Because he could not move. The man, oh my gosh. I want the best for Joel Embiid. And it's seeming clear that his knee is not right. So, we'll see. But this, again, it was a great, in my opinion, first week outside of some of the off the court issues. It was a really good first week, man. I'm excited. Again, I love basketball, and I'm excited about this year. Let's move over to football, because we had a Thursday night game, and the Chargers beat the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, and I'm going to admit that it's going to sound extremely harsh what I'm going to say. And it's going to sound like I'm being mean. It's going to sound like I'm hating. It's going to sound like that I am just being overly critical, and I promise you that's not what I'm doing. I'm just being honest about what we saw. You're seeing a wave of people that's condemning the Vikings organization, that's condemning Kevin O'Connell for allowing Carson Wentz to play when clearly his arm wasn't, or either his arm or his shoulder, something wasn't right. He kept grimacing every time he got sacked. It seems like every time he threw the ball, it just looked like it was in pain. To the point where he threw his helmet, it looked like he was on the verge of crying. It just didn't look good for Carson Wentz. And with him not looking good, the offense just couldn't keep up with the Chargers offense, and the defense had to be on the field too much. It just snowballed from there. And here's where I say, what I'm going to say sounds crazy and sounds harsh, but it's true. You know why I am not on the side of condemning Kevin O'Connell and condemning the Vikings, even though I do feel like the organization and the coach at times has to save the player from themselves? It wasn't until we saw Carson Wentz grimace and Carson Wentz damn near cry, throw his helmet, that we knew, oh, he's in serious pain. Which honestly is one of the biggest indictments on Carson Wentz, because before then he looked like how he usually plays. Erratic, throwing the ball all over the place, overthrows, underthrows. One of the reasons why he's been on 6 teams in 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, is because he is an erratic player. And if you didn't tell me that Carson Wentz had a shoulder injury, I would think that this is just a regular Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz looked exactly the same as he did last week and the week before. In fact, one of the reasons why they lost last week is because he was being erratic. It wasn't because of shoulder injury. It was because he threw 4 interceptions. I think the frustration with the Minnesota Vikings, because they thought that this was going to be the year. You have one of the best defenses. You still, and I know what they're going to say. In fact, I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. This is why this has been one of the worst years for Minnesota. Not because I don't think even fully healthy they would be a Super Bowl caliber team, but what I do think is the most important. I said this before. The most important years for a rookie, I think, is your first 2 to 3 years. And when you look at J.J. McCarthy, his first year, he missed entirely due to an injury. And this year, he's missing time due to injury. So while I don't think that the Minnesota Vikings are a Super Bowl caliber team, you want a young quarterback that you're entrusting your future on. You want more reps. You need more reps. That's one of the reasons why you see Kevin Stefanski come out and talk about why Dylan Gabriel's getting all the first team reps because he needs it. Now, I do think that Kevin McConnell and the organization, or no, Kevin Stefanski and the organization is sabotaging Shadur Sanders' career, but that's a whole nother topic. This is probably the worst case scenario, on top of the fact that the person that you let Sam Darnold walk to Seattle, and he looked like he's going crazy right now. It looked like last year wasn't a fluke. Not saying that, Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate or anything, but Seattle looks good. The Minnesota Vikings season was and has been derailed due to injury. And when I mean derailed, I'm not saying that if they were fully healthy, they would be a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't believe that at all. But this is the year where you're hoping that J.J. McCarthy starts to get it. Because even when J.J. McCarthy's in there, it looks like a rookie. The game is just fast for him. You need those reps. You need that time, and he has not been able to get that. So when you look, you're like, man, Carson Wentz shouldn't have been out there. Bro, you didn't know Carson Wentz was hurt until you saw him start crying on the sideline, which I get. Pain is pain. But before then, Carson Wentz was playing like Carson Wentz. And on the Chargers side, I know they won, but I think they really only won because they were going up against their offense was on the field so much because the Vikings offense couldn't do nothing. Like, this offensive line is tough, and they are in desperate need of I know, was it Kamani Vidal, shout out to you, 23 carries for 117 yards, but I don't know how sustainable that is, especially with the offensive line. They need I know they thought they had it with Najee Harris, but obviously he's out for the year with an injury. They need a running back, which I think we saw a report saying that they're going to actively shop for a running back at the trade deadline market, but But congratulations to the LA Chargers for being the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. That's another thing, man. You go and you beat the Chicago Bears on an epic fourth quarter by J.J. McCarthy. You have one of the best defenses in football. You have one of the best defensive coordinators in football, if not the best defensive coordinator in football, in Brian Flores. And you look up today, the start of Week 8, and you are 3-4. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. Pause. Jeez. Like I said, the start of Week 8. Let's give our game predictions. The first game we have is Miami at Atlanta. I'm not gonna lie to you. This should be an easy. Oh, of course, Atlanta's gonna win this game. They have the better weapons. But like I said last episode, it seems like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing with the Falcons. Sometimes they know they have Bijan Robinson, and they know they have Drake London, and they know they have Kyle Pitts, and they use them. Sometimes they don't. But then again, going up against Miami. Miami's not good. Miami's defense is not good. Let's get that out the way too, because nobody with this whole Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, nobody really talks about how poor their defense is. So Bijan Robinson should have a field day. So I'm gonna go with Bijan. I'm gonna go with the Falcons, even though who knows. The New York Jets at Bengals. Hey, quiet as is kept. The Jets are running out of opportunities to win games. This is one of your best opportunities. You're going up against a 40-year-old Joe Flacco, even though he does have this team looking really good. Did y'all see? Aaron Glenn said for a competitive advantage, he is not going to tell who's going to be the starting quarterback until like game time between Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields. Aaron Glenn, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. Ain't neither one of them pushing the needle, brother. If I was the Cincinnati Bengals and I heard you say that, I would hop on the group chat with all my team and say, "Did y'all see what this man said, bro?" And then I would have my collective laugh and I would go about my day, because it don't matter if Tyrod Taylor play, it don't matter if Justin Fields play, it don't matter if the late Bert Starr played. The Jets are losing this game. In what world did you say to yourself, we're going to wait to tell him because maybe, just maybe, we're going to roll Justin Fields back out there? The same Justin Fields who, when he got benched on Saturday or last Sunday, the man had like 46 yards. So as much as the Bengals defense, the Bengals best defensive player or second best defensive player right now, their captain asked for a trade. So they're going through some stuff right now. Don't matter. The Jets are still going to lose. The Browns at New England. New England's just a better team. Drake May is going crazy right now. When Ramondre Stevenson holds on to the ball, he's going crazy. And because the Cleveland Browns won last week because the Dolphins suck. The Patriots are better. So I'm going to go with the Patriots and Drake May. New York at Philadelphia. Look, I know Jackson Dart. You know what? I'm going to go with Philadelphia. I know New York beat them, 2-3 weeks ago? Look, I know Jackson Dart has been really good. Cam Scadaboo has been really good. The defensive front has been really good. I don't think that's going to matter against this Philadelphia Eagles team, at least on Sunday. Philadelphia is coming off a loss. Actually, I'm sorry, a win. I meant they lost last time they played the Giants. That's not going to matter. Seems like they've got their groove back, and the Giants is another victim. So I have Philly winning that one. Buffalo at Carolina. Hey, man, Carolina has looked much better than I thought they would look, especially after game 1 and 2. However, you're going up against the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills indeed is not the Miami Dolphins. And as much as the Buffalo Bills haven't looked like that team yet, you're going up against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So, with that being said, the Buffalo Bills are winning this game, in my opinion. The game of the week, 4 reasons. Let me tell you something. Do you know how loud the ruckus, the noise will get? Because all we've been hearing about is wait until week 8. You get Lamar Jackson back. You get Roquan Smith back. You get some of the pieces back. And this is when the Baltimore Ravens go on their run. On top of that, this is the easiest part in their schedule, while the Pittsburgh Steelers, who leads the division, is about to go into the toughest part of their schedule. All I heard was wait until week 8 when they go up against the Chicago Bears. If the Chicago Bears go into Baltimore and win, if the defense still looks as bad as it looks, I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens because they're in must-win mode every game, it seems. And their defense, last time we saw them, even though they lost to the Rams, their defense did look okay. You know, we're talking about a Rams team that's explosive. Their defense looked okay. But what I'm saying is, there is no effing around. I mean, you saw the report of the players took the ping pong and all the games out the locker room because they're getting serious. Okay. I don't know how much ping pong is going to help with trying to stop Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, but I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens because they're in must-win mode. They got to win. Because if not, and Lamar Jackson comes back because he was back at practice, I don't know. Even though Lamar Jackson wasn't the issue, the offense wasn't the issue. The issue was the defense. And Zach Orr is still there. And as much as I love supporting black people in coaching positions, Zach Orr been trash. I'm just keeping it a bean with you. So I'm gonna pick Baltimore. You're at home and you need this win a lot more than the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna pick Baltimore. San Francisco at Houston. I'm starting to feel a little bad for C.J. Stroud, man. It just seems like week after week after week, another weapon gets taken from him. I don't know if Nico Collins is playing. This offensive line is still horrible. And C.J. Stroud, I think he's starting to see ghosts a little bit because some of the passes he be throwing, it's like, now you're going up against a 49ers team that doesn't have Fred Warner, doesn't have Nick Bosa. I don't know. I don't think what's his name is coming back. Brock Purdy. I don't think he's coming back this week. Yeah. Wait, does that report say that Kevin Garnett was in the thing too? Jesus. Now they're saying Kevin Garnett was part of the gambling thing. Or his name was. Let me tell you. But you know what? And it's until proven guilty. That's all I'll say. I'm Kevin Garnett. I'm actually gonna go with because Houston's defense is one of the best defenses in football. It's just their offense is. I'm gonna go with Houston. I think their defense, Lassiter and Stingley and Anderson. I think they can get a pick six, or not even a pick. They can force some turnovers. Tampa Bay at Saints. I'm not going to say they're the worst team in the league right now because that's definitely the Jets, but the Saints ain't that good. And Tampa Bay is coming off a loss, so there's a little bit of added motivation. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Dallas at Denver. Now, I hate to admit this. I don't want to admit this. It pains me to admit this. In fact, you see, I'm starting to shake a little bit. Dallas has one of the best offenses in football. Dak Prescott is an MVP candidate. George Pickens has been he's been incredible at time most of the time. Them getting CeeDee Lamb back, and I think Denver's 33 points in the fourth quarter was more on how bad of defensive scheme the Giants had compared to just good Denver offense. Now, yes, I know that Dallas's defense is not good. But Bo Nix has been struggling majority of this year, and I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up offensively with Dallas, so I'm going to pick Dallas to go into Mile High and win, unfortunately. Because, and I'm saying, y'all know, I'm a Commanders fan. But Dallas, yeah, they look all right. Tennessee at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is one of the best. Actually, I think they have the best record in the league. I'm going to go with the Colts. The Colts, I think they have an MVP candidate in Jonathan Taylor, comeback player of the year candidate in Daniel Jones. This team is great. I'm going to go with Indianapolis against Tennessee, who fired their coach 2 weeks ago. And for some reason, every single time Cam Ward has had the slipperiest ball of all time, because I don't know how many times he's cocked back trying to throw the ball and it just slips out his hand. That's happened like 4 or 5 times this year alone. Tennessee is not a good team at all, so I'm going to go with the Colts. Sunday Night Football. Actually, very exciting game. The Green Bay Packers go into Pittsburgh. Jordan Love against Aaron Rodgers. You see, here's the dilemma that I have. I don't feel confident about neither one of these teams right now. Green Bay has not played up to snuff. They have not played to the caliber in which I thought they would play. They have not played like a Super Bowl caliber team majority of this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're just built weird, man. Without Calvin Austin, they don't really have a second receiver outside of Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth. And their defense hasn't really been good at all either. Jalen Ramsey, he's been all right. TJ, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. Just because I feel like at their best, Green Bay has a better roster than the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I don't really feel. I think there's going to be a good game, but I don't really feel. Even though Aaron Rodgers has been slicing and dicing at times, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with this Green Bay offense, especially if Calvin Austin's not playing. So, yeah. And then Monday Night Football, we don't have to stay on this long. Washington at Kansas City. Congratulations, Kansas City, for winning. There you have it. That's been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I truly appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, long sleeve joggers, the link is in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow, and I'm trying to get as many subscribers as possible. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. It definitely means a lot. Also, for my DSPs, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to me, wherever you get your DSPs, please follow, subscribe, rate, comment. I'm trying to grow the podcast unilaterally, and I cannot do it without you guys' help. Again, if you are subscribed, tell a friend to subscribe. Please recommend it if you like the content. It means so much to me. Also, for my socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I post pretty much daily there, whether that's stories, TikTok, or reels. We can go back and forth. I don't mind going back and forth. Just keep it respectful. Yeah, just leaving the comments and means not only are you listening to me, but you have an opinion, both of which are important to me, both of which I care about. So, again, keep it respectful, and I don't mind debating in the comments. I don't mind going back and forth. Just make sure you follow. Until next time, much love.